So, I have some great news. I received great news, and it's truly a blessing. I received news. Just trying to say it. It's crazy, okay? So, if you've been watching, you know that I went to school to be a psychologist at first, and then God told me that wasn't my true calling, and then I ended up being a nurse. So, we all know the tuition in school is high, and I took out loans when I was going to be a psychologist, pivoted, and went to a privately owned school and took out loans because it was an accelerated program and it wasn't structured where that you could work and go to school. I couldn't because it was every day, 5 days a week. So I found myself almost in $90,000 worth of student loan debt. And I received, it hasn't even been a whole month that I received an email. Didn't really know if it was legitimate. And it said that my student loans were forgiven. I had applied like the week before. And I was like, it seems like kind of fast for that to be happening. Don't know if it's legitimate or not. So I just kept watching my credit report. And they dropped off. But at the same time, the education department or whatever that had my loans at first went out of business. And they were about transferred to Nelnet. So I was like, okay, well, we'll wait and see. Maybe it fell off because of that. And sure enough, it was. It fell off, was out for a couple weeks, and then it popped back on there. And it did a number to my credit report, which it still has not recovered because this is new news. So I started seeing a lot of people talking about their student loans being forgiven. So I'm like, okay, maybe it is for real. So I asked, how do you find out when it's actually gonna fall off? So they was like, call your loan servicer, and they usually will adjust it if it's real. So I called, and the next day I got an email, and I'll insert it. It says, congratulations, your loans have been forgiven. Oh, let me go back. When I called the loan servicer and the person that I got on the phone, I was like, so I got something saying that my loans were forgiven, but I'm not seeing anything. When is that going to happen? He said, oh, it should show up by September the 1st. So I'm like, oh, okay. I said, so are my loans forgiven? And he went and he was like, yeah. And I was like, did it erase all of it? And he was like, well, no. So then, of course, my little heart sunk. I was like, oh, no. And then he came back. He was like, I said, can you tell me how much or what? And he was like, the first two. Still in my mind, it's not registering. What do you mean the first two? What's the first two? The first 2 semesters you went to school? What? So he said, well, let me total it up for you. And it took him a minute to come back to the phone. And when he comes back, he said, okay, so the total that is forgiven is going to be $81,833.98. Did you hear me? $81,833.98. I don't think you heard me. I really don't think you heard me. $81,833.98. And it came off on Saturday. My balance reflected it. So now I owe this much. Because I told you I almost owed $90,000. So then it's this much. I think I could do that, Lord. Thank you. I think I could pay that off, because I was like, I'm going to die and I'm still going to owe for student loans. And you know, I'm back in school now, but you don't have to worry about me getting in more student loan debt, because we pay out of pocket. Sometimes it's on time, sometimes I'm late. But I'm like, I refuse to have student loans ever, ever, ever again, because the interest, about 20,000 of it was interest. But, whew. Now, for those of you that still have student loans, and you're like, how do I qualify? How do I qualify? Because I've gotten all those messages on Facebook, right? I qualified because even though I could not afford to pay on my student loans, I was either had it deferred or forbearance, and then they came out with the plan income. It's IDR or IBR. And I made sure that when it was time to renew that, I would report and I would renew it every time it came up. So because I did that, and it always put me as 0 as a payment, that those 0 payments counted towards my payment on my student loan. So don't ignore it. Make sure you call. Like, even when we moved to different states, I would call, give my new address, my new phone number, keep all your information up to date, and continue to apply for whatever way you can to, if you can't afford to pay it now, that it's, that it's deferred, but in their way of being deferred, or that it's an income-driven repayment plan. Whew, it came. Income-driven repayment plan, where it goes by your income, and whatever the payment is, make it. I was just blessed that this last time, when it was almost time for me to go back to start paying it, I was in school, so it was deferred. So all that still counted towards my payments. It's a blessing. It really, really is a blessing, because it affects your debt to income ratio. And because I had that big, huge debt, it's affected so much stuff. Your interest rates, and trying to get credit cards, and trying to get a house, which now, Lord, I can buy a house, and that's what we have on our agenda now. We are pinching pennies and saving money to buy a house. So, yes, that is the best news of 2023 for me and my husband. $81,833.98 gone. Forgiven. Don't have to worry about it anymore. So, storm chasers, that is my great and wonderful news. Even though I'm sitting here with a brace on my leg, hobbling around the house, dragging myself to the bathroom, up the stairs, I could smile. Now we just got to get over this leg so I can get back to work, on my feet, back to work, and back to school full time. So you can finish watching the journey of the storm chasers, through the storms of love. Y'all ignore me. It's just, I keep thinking about it. It just keeps popping in my head. And I said I had to let y'all know. I am too blessed to be stressed. I am going to load the video that talks about the moose that walked up also. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for our journey through the storms of love. As you see, stuff just pops up. It's just, life is just exciting, and it takes you on roller coaster rides, and we want you to ride through the storm with us.